So today we're going to be talking about functions. And in order to talk about functions, we're looking at a piece of Gandalf code. Now, Gandalf doesn't want to give out quests anymore. He's decided to write a program to help him do that, but he's basically just copy and pasted a bunch of console.logs. Now, this is repeating code, and what we can use to help repeating code is functions. So before we fix Gandalf's code, we're going to talk about functions, how we can use them, and their basic structure. Let's go ahead and hop into another example. We can create a function inside of JavaScript with the keyword function shown on line 6. Then we give our function what is called a name. And we have decided to call this name start quest. So Gandalf wants to be able to use a function to start mini quests for any hobbits or dragons or anyone he's dealing with. And then we go ahead and have parentheses after the start quest. Now these parentheses is where we can pass in our arguments or our parameters. Now parameters are essentially just variables that we pass into a function, and we don't have any passed in right now, but I'll show you how to pass them in when we help fix Gandalf's code. After the parentheses, we go ahead and add curly braces. Now inside of these curly braces, we have our code, the console.log, to go ahead and start a new quest. Now you can see that we only have one set of console.logs. Now we're going to be able to use this start quest to be able to log multiple console.logs, and we're going to be able to go ahead and change this a wizard is never late. I want us to also note that a function does not execute unless it is called. Up here on line 6 through line 10, we are just defining our function. We are not calling it. Only once we call it on line 13, line 16, and line 19 do we actually execute the code. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a terminal and execute this program. On the screen, we can see inside of our terminal, I'm just going to expand it real quick, 3 new quests that have been given out. A wizard is never late, a wizard is never late, a wizard is never late. But you can see that we also have an additional problem of this being the same quest. So if Gandalf needed to give out the same quest 3 times to 3 different people, that would be great. But what happens if he needs to give 3 different quests to the same person? Well, let's go ahead and look and see how we can fix his code. Now we're back on Gandalf's code, and the first thing I want us to do is capture the strings that are being hard-coded into the console.log. Now we need to capture those strings with variables, and we're going to go ahead and create 3 variables, quest 1, quest 2, and quest 3. Okay, now that we have created our 3 variables and we are capturing the different types of quests, we're going to go ahead and write our function. Now our function will essentially hold the set of console logs or the set of console logs that is being repeated. So I'm going to write that now. Now on the screen, we can see that we have a function of start quest, and we are not actually calling it yet. It's telling us that because it is grayed out essentially. Now what we need to do is we need to also add in our parameter. Now our parameter inside of the function is something that is going to be changed and is something that is going to be passed in when we call the function. Now to create a parameter inside of a function parentheses, we go ahead and give it a data type. So the data type is string and the variable or the parameter is quest. So now when we go ahead and call our start quest, we can pass in a string inside of these parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and call it 3 times. Now on the screen, we can see that start quest is being called 3 times, but we have a red squiggly line underneath the function call. This means that we currently have an error, and it is saying that we need to pass in a parameter. We actually need to give it our variables that we have assigned up here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that we have gone ahead and passed in our variables, we actually need to use the parameter that we are passing in inside of the function and into our console.log. So right now we've hard-coded deliver the ring, but let's go ahead and change this so we're using the quest that is being passed in. Great. Now we have all of the pieces of the code that we needed to fix Gandalf's console.logs. I'm going to go ahead and delete Gandalf's code down here. And now we have a fully functional function that helps us use reusable pieces of code so that we can call that function whenever we want in our code, making our program more efficient. Let's go ahead and call it to see what happens. Now when we look at the terminal, we can see that we have a new quest of deliver the ring, new quest of meet a dragon, and new quest of subscribe to channel. And we've been able to use a function to help circumvent the need to copy and paste multiple console.logs. Now these functions can be used whenever you need to handle reusable pieces of code that you can call throughout your program. I hope we helped you, and Gandalf, always remember, keep learning, keep building.